This video is on the forgotten fast found in Zechariah 8. But before we get started, since we are live in this fellowship, let's get a prayer in. Heavenly Abba, higher in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Shabbat Shalom, and happy new moon festival from earth to the heavens. Thank you for allowing us to be here to celebrate it with you and the heavenly bodies and Mashiach, and that you give us the power to triumph it over anything that comes in times of trials and tribulations, Heavenly Abba. We understand that we need to be tested, and we still stand firm in giving you glory. We just ask that you send the Ruach to empower our bodies and our minds to win against anything that's not of your kingdom, Abba. Please give this message flight, wings as an angel, Heavenly Abba. In the name of your only begotten Yasha, Amen, Amen. All right. The forgotten fast. Zechariah 8:19, particularly talking about the fast is found in Zechariah 8:19. And I would say overall, the fast amongst his people is forgotten. They used to fast all the time. I mean, all the time back in the day, at least the righteous did. And I feel like that's a really lost benefit that increases your Ruach state of mind that is overlooked. But like I said, in this study, we're focusing on the fast found in Zechariah 8:19. So let's read that then. 8:19. Thus says the Adon Almighty, the fourth fast, the fifth fast, and the seventh fast, and the 10th fast shall be to the house of Judah for joy and gladness, and for a good feast, and ye shall rejoice, and love ye the truth and peace. We have, in one verse, we have four fasts mentioned: the 4th, 5th, 7th, and 10th. These are talking about the fast of the 4th month, 5th, 7th, and 10th month. That's what this is referring to. And in this verse particularly, he's saying that this is a prophecy right here. He's saying that these fasts that the people and the priests were doing at this time, that he was going to turn them into joy and gladness. But obviously we're not here yet, are we? No, we're not in that day just yet. It's a prophecy yet to be fulfilled. But there's a lot of context around this. And so we're going to read all around it. And that being said, I want to read Zechariah 8 in its full context. From the beginning to the end, we're going to read Zechariah 8 so we can put this in perspective. All right? So let's jump to that. Let's do this. Zechariah 8, verse 1.
Zechariah 8. Again, the word of the Lord of hosts came to me, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I was jealous for Zion with great jealousy, and I was jealous for her with great fury. Thus saith the Lord, I am returned unto...
Before we get started, I wanted to say this. I want so you can focus on paying attention to the right things. I want you to focus on that this entire chapter is exactly what it's titled, A City of Truth. It's about Jerusalem. It's about the redemption of Jerusalem, this entire chapter. So the redemption of Jerusalem goes one and the same with the four fasts that obviously will be led to in this chapter. All right, so pay attention to that perspective, because that's really what it's all about. What these fasts are all about, the fall and the redemption of Jerusalem.
Zion, and will dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and Jerusalem shall be called a city of truth, and the mountain of the Lord of hosts, the holy mountain. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, there shall yet old men and old women dwell in the streets of Jerusalem, and every man with his staff in his hand for very age, and the streets of the city shall be full of boys and girls playing in the streets thereof. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, if it be marvelous in the eyes of the remnant of this people in these days, should it also be marvelous in mine eyes, saith the Lord of hosts. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, I will save my people from the east country and from the west country, and I will bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God in truth and in righteousness. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, let your hands be strong, ye that hear in these days these words by the mouth of the prophets, which were in the day that the foundation of the house of the Lord of hosts was laid, that the temple might be built. For before these days there was no hire for man, nor any hire for beast, neither was there any peace to him that went out or came in because of the affliction. For I set all men every one against his neighbor. But now I will not be unto the residue of this people as in the former days, saith the Lord of hosts. But the seed shall be prosperous, the vine shall give her fruit, and the ground shall give her increase, and the heavens shall give their dew. And I will cause the remnant of this people to possess all these things. And it shall come to pass that as ye were a curse among the heathen, O house of Judah and house of Israel, so will I save you, and ye shall be a blessing. Fear not, but let your hands be strong. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, as I thought to punish you when your fathers provoked me to wrath, saith the Lord of hosts, and I repented not, so again have I thought in these days to do well unto Jerusalem and to the house of Judah. Fear ye not. These are the things that ye shall do. Speak ye every man the truth to his neighbor. Execute the judgment of truth and peace in your gates. And let none of you imagine evil in your hearts against his neighbor, and love no false oath, for all these are things that I hate, saith the Lord. And the word of the Lord of hosts came unto me, saying, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the fast of the 4th month, and the fast of the 5th, and the fast of the 7th, and the fast of the 10th, shall be to the house of Judah joy and gladness, and cheerful feasts. Therefore love the truth and peace. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, it shall yet come to pass that there shall come people, and the inhabitants of many cities, and the inhabitants of one city shall go to another, saying, let us go speedily to pray before the Lord, and to seek the Lord of hosts. I will go also, yea, many people and strong nations shall come to seek the Lord of hosts in Jerusalem, and to pray before the Lord. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold out of all languages of the nations, even shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew, saying, we will go with you. We have heard that God is with you.
Amen. Amen. All right. And we're going to break down this chapter in full context throughout this study. But just to point out a few little details while we're here, we see at the very end, this is, well, in summary, this is the beginning of the chapter. Is saying that he's placed judgment on Jerusalem that fell. And Jerusalem is an embodiment of his people, especially when New Jerusalem comes. The metaphors and parables that is surrounded with New Jerusalem in the book of Revelation, New Jerusalem is one with his people. We are his people, at least the righteous and the elect are the royal priesthood, and they are lively stones. The lively stones is referring to stones of the kingdom. And while we're here at the end of the chapter, verse 22, yea, many people and strong nations shall come to seek the Most High of hosts in Jerusalem to pray before Hiah. In those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold out of all the languages of the nations, even shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that Elohim is with you. We are in those days right now, Yasharallah. We are taking hold of the covenant that was given for the house of Yasharallah, Judah. Every man that is thirsty is drinking upon that covenant in the living word as we speak right now, getting filled with the Ruach and wisdom that goes with that. So we're in these days, in other words, where it's happening in real time. These prophecies are happening in real time. And this prophecy is right before he turns these fasts into joy and gladness. So we're almost there. The prophecy of his people returning to the path of righteousness and his Torah, his covenant, and even the Gentiles will be, the great multitude will be a mixed multitude. And before, that happens right before he makes the fast into joy and gladness. And as we saw throughout the chapter, that he talks about punishing and not repenting for his punishment that he's brought forth on Jerusalem, his people, but he will redeem his people. And it shall come to pass that as ye were a curse among the heathen, the curse and the punishment and the judgment he placed on Jerusalem, which was necessary. They were falling away to other gods, right? O house of Judah, O house of Yasharallah, so will I save you. Ye shall be a blessing. Fear not, but let your hands be strong. And we're going to talk about what we need to do for, so our hands are represents our works, what we do as a productive person in this world and his kingdom. But I'll stop there because we're going to break this chapter 8 down throughout this entire study. So let's get back to the slides. So that's the entire point of the fast, has everything to do with Jerusalem. And so when it talks about the fast of the 4th, the 5th, the 7th, and the 10th, it has everything to do with Jerusalem. So let's go to it. The 4 fasts can be found in 2 Kings and in the book of Jeremiah, where Jeremiah was present during the time of 2 Kings, the fall of Jerusalem into the captivity of Babylon. And then obviously 2 Kings is the time frame of exactly where it happened, so it's recorded there. So the timing that we could find of the 4th, the 5th, 7th, and 10th will be found in mostly these 2 books. So let's read first the fast of the 4th month. 2 Kings chapter 25, verse 3. And all these fasts in the 4 months can all be found in the chapter 25, one chapter of Kings, and mostly in chapter 52, also of Jeremiah. All of them but one fast in chapter 52 of Jeremiah. Just throwing that out there. You'll see it in the context of the verses that we're using. And on the 9th day of the 4th month. So straightforward right there. We already got a date. So the fast of the 4th month is on the 9th day. The famine prevailed in the city, and there was no bread for the people of the land. Same story in Jeremiah 39:2. And in the 11th year of Zechariah, in the 4th month, the 9th day of the month, the city was broken up. Same event. And then Jeremiah 52:6. And on the 4th month, in the 9th day of the month, this is just a precept for what we just read. Famine was sore in the city so that there was no bread for the people of the land. And it was broken up and people started to scatter and etc. We're going to read 2 Kings 25 in its capacity just for context, because it has all the fasts in the timings of the fast in that full chapter. But we're going to go over each fast one by one. So we have the 4th month is a fast for the 9th day, because that was the beginning of a famine and the timing of the city started to fall apart. Moving to the fast of the 5th month. 2 Kings 25, 8 through 9. And in the 5th month, on the 7th day of the month, which is the 19th year of the king Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came Nebuzaradan, captain of the guard, a servant of the king of Babylon, unto, and I highlighted it yellow for a reason, I'll get to that in a second, unto Jerusalem, and he burned the house of the Don in the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem, and every great man's house burnt he with fire. Precept to this is Jeremiah 52, as spoken, 12 through 13. Now in the 5th month, in the 10th day of the month, which was the 19th year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came the captain of the guard, which served the king of Babylon, into Jerusalem, and burned the house of the Adon in the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem, and all the houses of the great men burned he with the fire. So even people was burned in the fire, right? And so we have 2 different dates here. In the 5th month, on the 7th day of the month, in the 5th month, in the 10th day of the month. And that's the purpose of why the yellow is highlighted. The 7th day of the month, they came onto Jerusalem. In the 10th day of the month, they came into Jerusalem and burned. So these 2 dates are not contradictive. They are just saying a different, slight timing of the story. This is when they arrived on the 7th day, and on the 10th day is when they actually went into and burned the house of the Most High. And I looked in to try to clear it up even more so in the Septuagint, and I believe it did so. So let's just go to the Septuagint, the same exact verses, 2 Kings 25, 8 and 9, and Jeremiah 52, 12 through 13. And we see that really it just says to Jerusalem. So they got to Jerusalem at this timing. But we see here on the 10th day, same timings given in the Septuagint, that the captain of the guards who waited on the king of Babylon came to Jerusalem. So here it says pretty much the captain of the guard got there on the 7th day, but he didn't go into Jerusalem until when? After the king of Babylon arrived, because he waited on the king of Babylon, and then they came to Jerusalem. So just solidifying that these 2 time frames are just slight differences of when the arrival and when they actually burned down the house of the Most High, which is actually on the 10th day of the month, which you'll find in Jeremiah 52. So the 5th day of the 5th fast of the 5th month fast is on the 10th day. Continuing, fast of the 7th month. But it came to pass in the 7th month that Ishmael, the son of Nethaliah, the son of, okay, we get it, and the seed royal came, and 10 men with him, and smote Gedaliah, that he died, and the Jews and the Chaldees that were with him in Mizpah. Same event, but this is the only one that is not found in Jeremiah 52. This is in Jeremiah 41. That is a precept to this event. Now it came to pass in the 7th month, and it's the same story. So I'm not going to have to read that again. And you see how they don't give a date. I mean, actual day. It's sort of vague when we're actually looking for a day, right? So they have 7th month. We'll talk about the day in a moment. But right now, this is all we have, what scripture shows us. And yes, I even went and looked in the Septuagint and any other manuscripts, and there's no day given that I could find. So we're going to have to use a little bit of context and, do the best we can. All right, now we're moving to the fast of the 10th month. In 2 Kings 25, verse 1, and it came to pass in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, in the 10th day of the month, that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came, he and all his hosts, against Jerusalem, and pitched against it, and they built forts against it round about. Again, in the 9th year, in the 10th month, in the 10th day of the month, the word of the Most High came unto me, saying, and that whole chapter of 24, not going to read it here, but that whole chapter 24 is talking about this same time frame in Ezekiel, which obviously, that's why it's in verse 1. It's the opening statement, because that's what that entire chapter is about. And then once again in Jeremiah 52, the same thing in the 10th month and the 10th day of the month. So very straightforward there. 10-10, 10th month, 10th day of the month. And that will complete all 4 fasts. So that being said, let's read the chapter in context and go over all 4 fasts in context within the chapter of 2 Kings 25. And you're going to see that the point of what we read of Zechariah 8 was about the beginning of Zechariah 8. He was talking about his judgment on Jerusalem and why they needed to fall. But then halfway through the chapter 8, he talks about redeeming Jerusalem. So we're going to go over the fall. This is why they are fasting, is because they're fasting is a memorial of the fall of Jerusalem, his land, his people. So let's do that. Set up 2 Kings, last chapter. Just going to let it all read so we can all hear it with our ears.
2 Kings 25. And it came to pass in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, in the 10th day of the month, that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came, he and all his host, against Jerusalem, and pitched against it. And they built forts against it round about. And the city was besieged unto the 11th year of King Zechariah. And on the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine prevailed in the city, and there was no bread for the people of the land. And the city was broken up. And all the men of war fled by night by the way of the gate between 2 walls, which is by the king's garden. Now the Chaldees were against the city round about. And the king went the way toward the plain. And the army of the Chaldees pursued after the king and overtook him in the plains of Jericho. And all his army was scattered from him. So they took the king and brought him up to the king of Babylon, to Riblah. And they gave judgment upon him. And they slew the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, and put out the eyes of Zedekiah, and bound him with fetters of brass, and carried him to Babylon. And the 5th month, on the 7th day of the month, which is the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came Nebuzaradan, captain of the guard, a servant of the king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem. And he burnt the house of the Lord, and the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem, and every great man's house burnt he with fire. And all the army of the Chaldees that were with the captain of the guard brake down the walls of Jerusalem round about. Now the rest of the people that were left in the city, and the fugitives that fell away to the king of Babylon, with the remnant of the multitude, did Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carry away. But the captain of the guard left of the poor of the land to be vine dressers and husbandmen. And the pillars of brass that were in the house of the Lord, and the bases, and the brazen sea that was in the house of the Lord, did the Chaldees break in pieces, and carried the brass of them to Babylon, and the pots, and the shovels, and the snuffers, and the spoons, And all the vessels of brass wherewith they ministered took they away, and the firepans, and the bowls, and such things as were of gold, in gold, and of silver, in silver, the captain of the guard took away. The 2 pillars, 1 sea, and the basis which Solomon had made for the house of the Lord, the brass of all these vessels was without weight. The height of the 1 pillar was 18 cubits, and the chapiter upon it was brass, and the height of the chapiter 3 cubits, and the wreathen work, and pomegranates upon the chapiter round about, all of brass, and like unto these had the 2nd pillar with wreathen work. And the captain of the guard took Zechariah the chief priest, and Zephaniah the 2nd priest, and the 3 keepers of the door. And out of the city he took an officer that was set over the men of war, and 5 men of them that were in the king's presence, which were found in the city, and the principal scribe of the host, which mustered the people of the land, and 60 men of the people of the land that were found in the city. And Nebuzaradan, captain of the guard, took these and brought them to the king of Babylon to Riblah. And the king of Babylon smote them and slew them at Riblah in the land of Hamath. So Judah was carried away out of their land. And as for the people that remained in the land of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon had left, even over them he made Gedaliah the son of Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, ruler. And when all the captains of the armies, they and their men, heard that the king of Babylon had made Gedaliah governor, there came to Gedaliah to Mizpah, even Ishmael the son of Nethaniah, and Johanan the son of Kareah, and Zeraiah the son of Tanhumeth the Netophathite, and Jaazaniah the son of a Maacathite, they and their men. And Gedaliah sware to them, and to their men, and said unto them, Fear not to be the servants of the Chaldees, but dwell in the land, and serve the king of Babylon, and it shall be well with you. But it came to pass in the 7th month, that Ishmael the son of Nethaniah, the son of Elishama, of the seed royal, came, and 10 men with him, and smote Gedaliah, that he died, and the Jews and the Chaldees that were with him at Mizpah, and all the people, both small and great, and the captains of the armies arose and came to Egypt, for they were afraid of the Chaldees. And it came to pass in the 37th year of the captivity of Jehoiachin, king of Judah, in the 12th month, on the 27th day of the month, that Evil-Merodach, king of Babylon, in the year that he began to reign, did lift up the head of Jehoiachin, king of Judah, out of prison, and he spake kindly to him, and set his throne above the throne of the kings that were with him in Babylon, and changed his prison garments, and he did eat bread continually before him all the days of his life. And his allowance was a continual allowance given him of the king, a daily rate for every day, all the days of his life.
All right. This was, you see, this is why this is the last chapter of 2 Kings, and why it's the last chapter in Jeremiah as well, because I mean, this is it. This is the fall. This is the end of the kingdom, the true kingdom of Jerusalem that could have been righteous, right? That was given unto his people. And just to go one little recap, we have the 10th day of the 10th month found in verse 1. That's the fast of the 10th. And then in verse 3, we have the 9th day of the 4th month. Then in verse 8, we have in the 5th month. Well, see, this says the 7th day in this, in not Deuteronomy, excuse me, 2 Kings, but we already went over that it's the 10th day of the month. And then lastly, we have the verse 25, and it came to pass in the 7th month, right? And as you heard, this was just a summary of the fall of Jerusalem to Babylon, King Nebuchadnezzar. And that is exactly what the fasts are. The fasts mentioned are memorials created by man. They were instituted to serve as reminders of 4 sorrowful events that befell the city of Jerusalem. Recap once again. The fast of the 4th month observed on the 9th day, 4:9, commemorates the time the city of Jerusalem was broken up. The fast of the 5th, observed on the 10th day, 5:10, when the temple and the houses were burned. All right, so now we're going to go over the timing of the 7th, all right? That was pretty vague. We have the fast of the 7th refers to Gedaliah, when Gedaliah was slain by Ishmael in the 7th month. The only place I could find a date is the Talmud. And it's not like I actually went and looked in the Talmud, is, searching for context, seeing if there was a manuscript or anything that had more than just saying in the 7th month. Came over, some stuff, and they were saying 7:3, and I found out, okay, this is from, commentary of the Talmud. But I'm not in disagreement with, so I'll go over that. Why? I feel like this event could have taken place on Feast of Trumpets, but was possibly set on the 3rd day because the event was on a feast day. And because we see that when you read in the context, like I said, I'm not gonna, we go over all of 8, Zechariah 8, all of 2 Kings 25, but we're not gonna read all the history of Jerusalem and the Jews, right? So I'm just gonna give a quick summary. Gedaliah invited Ishmael in. He was warned that Ishmael was sent to kill him, but Gedaliah didn't believe it. And when Ishmael came to kill Gedaliah, they came there and they broke bread together. In Jeremiah 42, there they did eat bread together. And this was at the timing of the 7th month. And even in the way it's spoken, it sounds like it's the beginning of the month to me, the way I read it in context. So he came to Gedaliah, possibly the beginning of the month, and they broke bread together. I mean, sounds like a feast. He didn't just come out of nowhere and saw him. He came to feast with them. It sounds like he slew them on Feast of Trumpets, which would make sense that when you understand fast, when you have his 7-day fast, 7-day Sabbath, and his annual Sabbath outside of Day of Atonement, you don't fast on them. They're actually supposed to be a day of joy and gladness, which these are going to be turned into. So if a fast is not a day of gladness, a fast is the opposite of that, which is why they fast as a memorial for sorrowful events, a reminder of why Jerusalem fell. This is why we're fasting. It's for the fall of Jerusalem in itself, that is a sad event, but it's a reminder to us of why it fell, all right? Because they went away and they served other Elohims, all right? So in conclusion, I am okay with choosing this 3rd day for the fast because, first of all, this is not a Moedim. This is not an appointed fast from the Most High himself. This was a fasting called upon from the people of Jerusalem. The Jews, Israelites, called upon this fast. So in other words, it's not necessarily needs to nitpick that it has to be this day because it's not a sin. Let me say this. It's not a sin to not do these fasts. This is a choice. These are not ordained by the Most High, commanded. These are not commandments. So from my conclusion that it wasn't the first, it does need to be moved. And I have no problem with it being on the 3rd. So I'm just going to leave it on the 3rd because it's not about the date. It's about what we do with the fast and the purpose of the fast, not necessarily the date. And if they wanted, they wanted to make the date clear, we would have received it. But I couldn't find any date on it. So I'm not going to trip on it because it's not given to us. It's not given to us. So that being said, 7/3 is the date that I'm going to pick moving forward with the fast for the 7th month. All right. Now the fast of the 10th month, observed on the 10th day, 10:10, when the king of Babylon turned against Jerusalem. All right. These appointed fasts will be turned into feasts or occasions of gladness when the Most High restores all Yasharallah to Jerusalem, after his people returns to the path of righteousness. Like I spoke before at the end of Zechariah 8, that's happening in real time. So should we continue to honor these fasts? In doing my research for this study, I came across someone else's study, and he was campaigning that we shouldn't do these fasts because they were made by men and that we only need to do what the Most High tells us to do. But that is honestly contradictive of what the word tells us to do. And you're going to see that before the study's over, is that if we only do what the Bible tells us to do, in a sense of the feast days, then there will never be a community fast. Because you'll see, we are actually, as a people, called to have a community fast. The Most High gives us the power to call that fast. So for us to say we shouldn't do these fasts because the Most High didn't tell us, then we are avoiding out the verses when the Most High tells us to call a fast, which we'll see in a little bit. So we're going to answer this question. So should we continue to honor these fasts? And let's read Zechariah 7, because that study that I came upon was quoting from Zechariah 7, and I believe we need to read it for the context of Zechariah 8 and the embodiment of the fast itself. So let's do Zechariah 7.
Zechariah 7. Then it came to pass in the 4th year of King Darius that the word of the Lord came unto Zechariah in the 4th day of the 9th month, even in Chislu, when they had sent unto the house of God Sherezer and Regem-melech and their men to pray before the Lord, and to speak unto the priests which were in the house of the Lord of hosts, and to the prophets, saying, Should I weep in the 5th month, separating myself as I have done these so many years? Then came the word of the Lord of hosts unto me, saying, Speak unto all the people of the land, and to the priests, saying, When ye fasted and mourned in the 5th and 7th month, even those 70 years, did ye at all fast unto me, even to me? And when ye did eat, and when ye did drink, did not ye eat for yourselves and drink for yourselves? Should ye not hear the words which the Lord hath cried by the former prophets, when Jerusalem was inhabited and in prosperity, and the cities thereof round about her, when men inhabited the south and the plain? And the word of the Lord came unto Zechariah, saying, Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, Execute true judgment, and show mercy and compassions every man to his brother, and oppress not the widow, nor the fatherless, the stranger, nor the poor, and let none of you imagine evil against his brother in your heart. But they refused to hearken, and pulled away the shoulder, and stopped their ears, that they should not hear. Yea, they made their hearts as an adamant stone, lest they should hear the law. And the words which the Lord of hosts hath sent in his spirit by the former prophets, therefore came a great wrath from the Lord of hosts. Therefore it is come to pass that as he cried, and they would not hear, so they cried, and I would not hear, saith the Lord of hosts. I scattered them with a whirlwind among all the nations whom they knew not. Thus the land was desolate after them, that no man passed through nor returned, for they laid the pleasant land desolate.
All right. Review. Zechariah 7. And we see it is titled True Righteousness, because remember, to enter the kingdom, our righteousness has to exceed the righteousness of the Pharisees. Let me say that again. Our righteousness has to exceed the righteousness of the Pharisees. The Pharisees kept the laws, but they also did other stuff that was not of the Most High. That's what this chapter is about. He's not condemning those that were fasting. He was saying, y'all are not fasting for me. Y'all are not fasting for me. And that's why the conclusion of the chapter, he clearly says that they stopped, but they refused to hearken and pulled away the shoulder and stopped their ears that they should not hear. Their fasting is in vain. So when we go up, when we read this, they get, after 70 years of captivity in Babylon, they get back into the land. And one of the priests asked the question, and speak unto the priests which were in the house of the Most High of hosts, and to the prophet, saying, should I weep? So fast. Should I fast in the 5th month, separating myself as I have done these so many years? So they're asking this question to Zechariah. Like, should we continue to fast now that we're back home in Jerusalem after the captivity? That's the question. And then the Most High answers them himself, saying, speak unto all the people of the land and to the priests, saying, when ye fasted and mourned in the 5th and 7th month. So he mentions 2 of the fast. Even those 70 years, the time that they were in Babylon, did ye at all fast unto me, even to me? So he's not condemning the fast. He's condemning how they are doing their fast and what's the motive behind it. Because he's not condemning what we eat. He even says, and when ye did eat, and when ye did drink, did ye eat for yourselves and drink for yourselves? So he's saying your entire walk is vanity. He's not even just talking about fast. He's like, when you fast and you're not eating, and then when you are eating, nothing you're doing is for me or the kingdom. So we see that he's not just like he's picking on the fast. He's pointing out that everything that these people were doing was in vanity. From fasting to eating, it didn't matter. It was for themselves. That's why he says right after that, should ye not hear the words which the Most High has cried by the former prophets? The purpose for the fast is to be humbled, to hear the words of the former prophets of the reasons why Jerusalem fell. If you're fasting for the fall in the memorial of Jerusalem, but you're not receiving the message of why it fell, which is found in the former prophets, then you're missing the entire point of fasting. And that's pretty much the embodiment. I'm gonna touch on one other part of this in a little bit in this study, but everything is about the fall of Jerusalem, and Jerusalem also represents his people, his land, and his people. All the way to, and after that, they fasted and they called for a fast. Obviously, the priest or whoever was that actually ordained it called a fast during these tragic times as a memorial to remember and to be humble, to keep the statute, laws, and the commandments. And about time they even got back, they already have fallen back off again. I mean, good gracious, it's crazy to think that people are this, I don't know, easily forget the Most High, right? But this is what happened. All right, let's get back to the slides. All right, we're adding to the story here, adding understanding. All right, so we're talking about the purpose. The Most High is not condemning a fast. He's condemning the purpose of the fast. He's like, listen to me. He's not dogging them for fasting. He's dogging them because they're not fasting for the right reasons. But they want to be rewarded as they are doing it for the right reasons. And in Zechariah 8 and 7, he mentions the fast. And what does he do with the fast? right at the same time frame in the passage of the fast of when he mentions the fast of both in Zechariah 8 and 7, he gives instructions because these are the works that the fasts are supposed to help produce. Zechariah 8, 16 through 17. These are the things that ye shall do. Speak ye every man the truth to his neighbor. Execute the judgment of truth and peace in your gates. And let none of you imagine evil in your hearts against his neighbor. And love no false oath. For all these things are things that I hate, says Hayah. So if you're not doing these works, the works that is supposed to be, these works are supposed to be increased in your times of fasting. If this is not the outcome of your fast, you're doing them in vanity, right? Or your fast is in vain. Once again, in Zechariah 7, thus speaketh the Adon of hosts, saying, execute true judgment and show mercy and compassion every man to his brother, and oppress not the widow, nor the fatherless, the stranger, nor the poor. And let none of you imagine evil against his brother in your heart. He attached example characteristics, traits that you should be getting elevated when you are fasting. Especially in, I posted this in Zechariah 8. Like, tell me, that doesn't sound like, I mean, both of these for sure equally, but Zechariah 8 sounds exactly the time we're in. It's very simple instructions. Just speak the truth to your neighbor, execute true judgment, peace in your gates, and let no evil come in your heart against his neighbor, no false oaths. Have compassion, every man to his brother, oppress not the widow, fatherless, stranger, nor poor. This is instructions for anyone in any time frame. And if your fasts are not surrounded with these characteristics by being a better person in the Ruach and keeping his commandments, vanity. Your wisdom and your time is vanity. This is the purpose of the fast. These are works of the fast. And y'all know what's up. Isaiah 58 is the epitome of preaching a fast. So let's read Isaiah 58 just to get the word of the fast and the purpose of the fast, which was spoken in little context right here in Zechariah 7 and 8. And remember, it says of the former prophets, right? That was spoken by the former prophets. Where it says, yes, verse 7, should ye not hear the words which the Most High has cried by the former prophets? Well, at this time frame, yes, this is Isaiah. Have you not heard the words of Isaiah of what a fast is truly about? So this is what we're going to go back and read the former prophets, Isaiah, to tell us what the fast is really about. "52, 58, I'm sure that was like not 52, 58. Thinking of Jeremiah.
Isaiah 58. Cry aloud, spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins.
Woo!
Yet they seek me daily, and delight to know my ways, as a nation that did righteousness, and forsook not the ordinance of their God. They ask of me the ordinances of justice. They take delight in approaching to God. Wherefore have we fasted, say they, and thou seest not? Wherefore have we afflicted our soul, and thou takest no knowledge? Behold, in the day of your fast ye find pleasure, and exact all your labors. Behold, Ye fast for strife and debate, and to smite with the fist of wickedness. Ye shall not fast as ye do this day, to make your voice to be heard on high. Is it such a fast that I have chosen? A day for a man to afflict his soul? Is it to bow down his head as a bulrush, and to spread sackcloth and ashes under him? Wilt thou call this a fast, and an acceptable day to the Lord? Is not this the fast that I have chosen, to loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke? Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that are cast out to thy house? When thou seest the naked, that thou cover him, and that thou hide not thyself in thine own flesh, then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thine health shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee. The glory of the Lord shall be thy rearward. Then shalt thou call, and the Lord shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, Here I am. If thou take away from the midst of thee the yoke, the putting forth of the finger, and speaking vanity, and if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry, and satisfy the afflicted soul, then shall thy light rise in obscurity, and thy darkness be as the noonday. And the Lord shall guide thee continually, and satisfy thy soul in drought, and make fat thy bones, and thou shalt be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water, whose waters fail not. And they that shall be of thee shall build the old waste places. Thou shalt raise up the foundations of many generations, and thou shalt be called the repairer of the breach, restorer of paths to dwell in. If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord honorable, and shalt honor him, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words, then shalt thou delight thyself in the Lord, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father, for the mouth of the Lord hath spoken it.
Wow. Wow. This, I mean, fits like a glove. Oh my goodness. You read the fall of Deuteronomy, Second Kings, the fall of his people in Second Kings, and the reason of the fall. You read Zechariah 7 and 8, the vanity of their fast. And then you read Isaiah. It's all connected. This is why Isaiah is talking about right in the beginning of the chapter. Show my people their transgression, the house of Jacob their sins. Yet they seek me daily and delight to know my ways as a nation that did righteousness and forsook not the ordinance of their Elohim. They ask of me the ordinance of justice. They take delight in approaching to Elohim. Wherefore have we fasted, say they, and thou seest not? Wherefore have we afflicted our souls, and thou takest no knowledge? Behold, in the day of your fast ye find pleasure, and exact all your labors. And then it talks about, and this is why he gives these instructions. I mean, straight up. What are these instructions? It's the opposite of this. Behold, ye fast for strife and debate, and to smite with the fist of wickedness. Ye shall not fast as ye do this day, to make your voice heard on high. He gives the opposite instructions. Like, stop doing that. And he actually tells us what we should be doing in both chapters. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That is the reason of the fast. So it's very clear. It's very clear. He wants us to fast. He wants us to, he wants us to humble our souls. He wants us to triumph it over wickedness. But it has to be the right way. That's the thing. Just like serving him. You know, most of us got out of churchianity. We realize there's a way to serve or Elohim. We just don't do what we want. And so when we come into the understanding that we should be fasting for him as well, there's a purpose and a reason for that. Everything we do, there's a purpose and a reason. And we need to do it the right way, which is his way. Because there's only one way. There's only one truth. That's his way. Psalms 35:13. But as for me, when they were sick, my clothing was sackcloth, and I humbled my soul with fasting, and my prayer returned into my own bosom. Matthew 17. And Yahshua rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. Then came the disciples to Yahshua apart and said, why could not we cast him out? And Yahshua said unto them, because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of a mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. He's telling us there's power in fasting, but it's got to be for the right purpose in the right way. Matthew 6:16. Moreover, when ye fast, be not as the hypocrites. Oh, I wonder who he's talking about. Do we see it now? Who's the hypocrites, Yasserala? The same people he's talking about in Zechariah 7, which was the same from the same seed from 2 Kings. Those that stopped their ears hearing the ordinance and commandments of our Abba. Ye hypocrites, he's been saying it from Isaiah to Zechariah. It doesn't matter what time frame. This is who he's talking about. It's the same people, same purpose, same reasons over and over again. There's nothing new under the sun. So all the stuff we're reading about from all back in the day to all the way in Messiah's time, it's the same exact message. Be not as the hypocrites of a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces that they may appear unto men to fast. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But thou, when thou fastest, anoint thy head and wash thy face, that thou appear not unto men to fast, but unto thy Father which is in secret. And thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. Obviously, this is that specific part is the fact that nobody knows you're fasting. That's not really talking about a community fast. There's different types of fast. If you're fasting individually, then you ain't got to tell everybody. If it's a community fast, then it's a community fast. But if you're fasting for, personal triumphant over wickedness, over bonds or yokes that you feel is on you, you don't need to tell everybody you're fasting. As a matter of fact, you're commanded not to do it. Because what's the purpose of doing that? Do you want people to look at you a certain way? Do you want people to say good job? Or is it between you and Abba? Anytime you make a decision to fast, you got to think about the purpose, the reason, and then conduct yourselves in righteousness, or you will be as the hypocrites, and your fast will not be heard, as he's spoken in Zechariah and in Isaiah 58. Let's continue. This is what I was speaking about earlier when I was saying that on my path of research for this study, came across someone saying, don't do a fast. These fasts is not commanded by the Most High. Well, then we're contradicting other scriptures because we're actually commanded to declare a fast, right? We can, like I said, we all can have our personal fast, but there's multiple verses that we're actually commanded to proclaim a fast. And that's what the fast of the 4th, 5th, 7th, and 10th month are. They're declared community fasts to uplift his community. And I don't think there's enough, you can get enough of fasting. We don't fast enough nowadays. So to say to disregard these fasts just because a majority of the people wasn't fasting the right way is totally out of context and jumping the gun. Let's read Joel 2. And Joel 2 is written in the position right before the second coming. Once again, we're living in this right time, real time right now. Joel 2, 12 through 18. Therefore also now, says the Adon, turn ye even to me with all your heart, and with fasting, and with weeping, and with mourning, and rend your heart and not your garments, and turn unto Haya your Elohim, for he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and repenteth him of the evil, who knoweth if he will return and repent, and leave a blessing behind him, even a meat offering and a drink offering unto the Adon your Elohim. Blow the trumpet in Zion, sanctify a fast. Wait a minute. Are we not supposed to do that? The Most High didn't command this fast. We can't, wait a minute. He gave power to his people to sanctify, to proclaim a fast. That's what these fasts are. They're community fasts. There's nothing wrong with fasting done the right way in the body of Mashiach. Call us a solemn assembly. Gather the people, sanctify the congregation, assemble the elders, gather the children, and those that suck the breast. Let the bridegroom go forth from his chamber, and the bride out of her closet. Let the priests and the ministers of the Most High weep between the porch and the altar, and let them say, spare thy people, O Haya, and give not thy inheritance to reproach, that the heathen should rule over them. Wherefore should they say among the people, where is their Elohim? Then will Haya be jealous for his land, Jerusalem, and pity his people. You see this? Remember the very beginning in Zechariah 8. He says, after all of the fasts, that he would turn those fasts into joy and feast. But what did I say had to come first? His people has to return to the path, and return to the path of righteousness. Fasting is included. Say what? Yes. Returning to the path of righteousness, are we not seeing fasting is included? And we're actually called to sanctify a fast in the timing of returning to his covenant. It's a lot here, right? It's a lot. And also in Ezra, same time of them returning to, to Jerusalem as well. Ezra was a big part of that. And what did Ezra do? Then I proclaimed a fast there at the river of Ahava, that we might afflict ourselves before our Elohim. Major part, what's the purpose of the fast? To seek him a right way for us and for our little ones and for all our substance. Can I get an amen? So we are in our walk, returning to his path of righteousness. Have we forgotten the fast? Have we forgotten it? Are we only fasting on Day of Atonement, which is the one day that we're actually commanded? If you're not fasting on Day of Atonement, then you're sinning. That is a sin. Just throwing that out there. That's the one fast that's commanded annually, is Day of Atonement. But outside of that, have we forgotten the fast? And that's why this study is called the Forgotten Fast. Have we forgotten the fast? And this is not just talking about individually, but the community fast. Yes, we are called to sanctify a fast, to proclaim a fast, but we already have those written in Scripture, the 4th, 5th, 7th, and 10th. Right? Let's return to that. Let's return to it right now. His timing is so divine. What are the odds of this, that this study is ready at the beginning of the fourth month, right before the first community fast that's found in Scripture? Jeremiah 39:2, the 4th month, the 9th day of the month. So obviously, if you're watching this after July's over, it's okay. If you are not following me on Instagram, you can always find the calendars on my website, becomesetaapart.com, where I update these, and I'll let you know what time. But right now, in real time in July, the fast of the 4th month on the 9th day is the 12th of July. And once again, this is a community fast that's been called upon by man, given permission from the living word. The living word gives man permission to call a fast if we do it the right way, as Ezra stated, to seek him a right way for us. So I'm not saying this is mandatory. I want to make it very clear. This is voluntary. Those that are seeking to uplift themselves in all correctness can join this community fast. It's not a sin if you don't do it. But why aren't you doing it? And if you aren't doing this fast, are you doing other fasts? Just food for thought there. But the 12th of July, if you are about it, and you're looking to be a part of something that's bigger than just you, because every person that wants to be a part of this will be a part of it, and it will be a community fast, more much bigger than what you could do on your own. Just like as we pray as a family of the body of Mashiach, we are stronger as one. So I strongly recommend this fast. I see absolutely nothing wrong. I actually see very good things that could come from these community fasts, especially because I do see some people do, proclaims fast and things like that. But what fast would help us all be on the same page? How about the ones that's in Scripture? We have 4 fasts that we all can just be on the same page with in Scripture. So let's do that. Let's do that. Because, me randomly proclaiming a fast it's not going to really resonate with multiple people, because it's just me proclaiming a random fast, possibly, for those that maybe not be on the same page as me. But the Scripture allows us to be all on the same page, is what I'm saying. So let's use Scripture to allow us to help us be one in the body of Mashiach and fast together as one. All right. Come on, boo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The 9th day. Remember, the day down, this isn't 7. This is 8. All right. I see some asking questions. Y'all know I got y'all already, right? Y'all know I do this. So when to start in the fast? Take a verse for context here in Judges 20:26. Then all the children of Yasharal and all the people went up and came unto the house of Elohim, and wept and sat there before the Most High, and fasted that day until evening, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before Hiah. So on a one-day proclaimed fast is sunrise to sunset. It's a day. What is a day? A day is light, all right? So sunrise to sunset is a one-day fast. But we'll see a little bit of the multi-day fast. But if we're fasting multiple days, then it shouldn't be any breakage. It should be day and night, just like Messiah did. He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. When you're fasting with an accumulation of multiple days, don't break your fast up. But if you're fasting for a community fast like the ones that I'm speaking of, it's sunrise to sunset, all right? What type of fast? There is Daniel's fast, Water's fast, and a dry fast. Daniel's fast is pretty much anything from the earth. No alcohol, no meat, pretty much produce, nuts, things from the earth, as seen in Daniel multiple times in chapter 1 and 10. And then we have a water fast. Water fast isn't really specified in scripture, but we see them that they were just fasting from food, bread in Acts 27. And then we have multiple examples of a dry fast. Like I mentioned, Day of Atonement is recommended as the harshest fast that you can go. And also spoken in Jonah as a community fast. And this is another community fast right here in Jonah. Jonah did, I forget the city, excuse me. The city that Jonah came upon, he called a community fast, and that was a dry fast also. So which one should you pick? You pick the one that you can withhold properly, all right? In other words, if I can do a dry fast and it's going to be the toughest upon me, but I can accomplish it, then elevate yourself. I'm a personal trainer, all right? So I'm going to give an example for that. If I'm working out and I'm just doing something that's a little hard, my benefits are going to be very minimum. But if I do something that is the hardest of my ability and I finish the job and I get done with the workout, then I will maximize my increase in my workout and my productivity and my benefits from that workout. Well, this goes for anything else in this life, especially in the fast. So we're talking spiritually here. If I myself do a Daniel's fast when I could have did a dry fast, I'm going to get minimum results for the circumstances that I'm in. The Daniel's fast, when you read even in Daniel, he was fasting in servitude. The fast fit his job. For example, if I am fasting, like let's say this is because this is not a Sabbath, right? This isn't a Sabbath, this Wednesday. So if I have a full day work, let's say I work in construction and I'm working outside all day, would that, and I live in Texas, so I'm just using my life as an example. And I'm working in 103-degree weather. And if y'all don't know about this heat in Texas, it's ferocious. Would it be safe for me to do a dry fast? No. That day I'm technically in servitude. Maybe if I am going to have 10 hours in the sun, maybe the proper fast that I would do, that I could do successfully, would be the Daniel's fast, for example. But if I work minimally and I am at home most of the day that day, or I'm off, then I could maybe push limits and do a dry fast. Or if I'm still moving about, maybe I am outside here and there, but I'm not doing extensive labor, then I'm like, yo, I work out, I'm gonna be out in and outside. It's gonna be tough to not drink water. Then drink water, be safe. So you see what I'm saying? Do the fast that not only fits the circumstances that you're in, that you can accomplish, but the most important thing is that make sure you accomplish it. Because let me say this, Yasharala, when we commit these fasts, it's not sinful to choose not to be a part of the fast. It's not sinful to choose not to be a part of the fast. It's not a commandment by the Most High. But once the fast starts and you say, Abba, you pray to Abba, you ask him to ordain this fast for him and to elevate your Ruach, then that is an oath you just made to the Most High. So if you make an oath that you're going to do this fast for the Most High, which is what these oaths are about, you better complete it. Because the Most High tells us that he wants what you say you're going to do for him. So that's what I'm saying. I've seen this in the past where people go out of nowhere. I've never done a fast before. I got all this going on in my life. Oh, we're doing a fast. Oh, I'm zealous for the Most High. I'm going to do a dry fast, even though I'm going to be doing all these things that I've never done it before. And what happens? You don't complete the fast. 3 o'clock comes around and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to drink something. Oh my gosh, my stomach's aching. I need to eat something. And then you break the fast. So what I'm saying is, don't curse your fast by doing a fast for him, then breaking the fast for him. Do a fast that is going to be healthy for your situation that you know you can complete because you have the options. So use your options wisely, just like Daniel did. Daniel was in servitude and they wanted him to eat. When you read the context, especially in Daniel 1, they wanted him to eat the meat and the food. And Daniel was like, okay, I'm not in a position to just do a dry fast. They want me to eat. So I'll just eat herbs and things of the land because I'm not eating the bad meat that they're offering me. So he did a fast to the Most High that was based on his circumstances, and he completed it. All right? That's very important with the fast. I see too many people breaking fast for the Most High. And if you're doing it for him, then you're breaking his oath and you're promising why you're doing it. So don't be a part of an epic fail, because it is an epic fail. You're turning in a fast for him into breaking an oath by him. So be responsible. And I saw someone ask about being pregnant. That's what I'm saying. If you're pregnant, do the Daniel's fast. Especially if, you're not comfortable with doing anything more than that. And I'm no expert, so I'm not going to authorize anything more than that either. And that's what I'm saying. Especially these type of fasts, you have a choice. So choose wisely, commit to him, and finish the job and give glory to his kingdom by leveling up in the Ruach. All right. So the fast you choose is up to you. And when you do choose it, you ain't got to tell everybody. It's between you and Abba what you're doing and your family is doing. The same thing for children. If you want your children to fast, have them do the Daniel's fast if they're not old enough to do a water fast. Train them to start fasting from things. That's how we are humbled. So because we take away things and realize how much we miss it, right? How much it gives our body joy. So, outside of Day of Atonement, you prepare yourself. Don't do no Daniel's fast on Day of Atonement. This ain't a study on Day of Atonement. Day of Atonement is different. Day of Atonement, boy, if you absolutely can't do a dry fast, you push for a water fast, but that's a whole nother event. But on these events, you have a choice, so choose wisely and make that choice righteous. And like I just said on the Daniel's fast, it's all about from the earth. oil, only water, whole grains, vegetables, fruits, etc. And we avoid processed foods, refined sweeteners, dairy, anything that comes from animal. And yeah, yeah. And if you want extensive guidelines, there's plenty of resources on the Daniel's diet, or fast, I should say. I'm gonna post these links in the video description, a couple of links for a Daniel's fast guidance, and plenty of benefits that Abba has created for our fleshly bodies that coincides with our spiritual selves. Plenty of benefits for fasting. All glory to Abba for making it beneficial in every way possible. And so helpful links on fasting. These are two better side of the health realm, holistic doctors that go over make a lot of good points on fasting, the benefits of prolonged fasting, and how fasting can reverse aging and prevent diseases, and your body's built to heal itself. We're powerful beings, and the world has made us forgot about it. So these are just they're not necessary to watch, especially this one. This one's very long. I think this one's, if I can remember, only like 30 minutes. This one's over 2 hours. But this is just helpful links that I will have in the description on fasting if you want to further your understanding on that. And one last gem in this study. The 40-day and night club. So we have 3 people in scripture that has fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. So I wouldn't recommend this fast because they did it with no water and no food. In other words, Abba was carrying them in the Ruach. It was different, very different for them. We have Deuteronomy, obviously talking about Moses. And I actually use this verse instead of the Exodus verse for a reason, because it actually says why he fasted. And I fell down before the Adon as at the first 40 days and 40 nights, continuous fast. I did neither eat bread nor drink water. Like I said, I honestly don't think that is possible, especially without the water part, without Abba leading you down that path. I don't know. That's extensive. So what's the reason behind this? Because of all your sins which ye sinned in doing wickedly in the sight of the Most High to provoke him to anger. So this is why we fast. We fast to reverse the yoke of bondage that has been put on us from our transgressions, so we can be uplifted and elevated in doing so. And then we have Elijah in 1 Kings 19:8, and he arose and did eat and drink and went into the strength of that meat 40 days and 40 nights. So Elijah fasted 40 days and 40 nights after he did eat and drink. And then Matthew 4:2, obviously our Messiah. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterwards and hungered. Of course he was, right? And the cool thing about this club had a meet and greet in Luke 9. And it came to pass about in 8 days after these sayings, he took Peter and John and James, and he went up into the mountain to pray. And as he prayed, the fashion of his countenance was altered, and his raiment was white and glistening. And behold, there talked with him 2 men, which were Moses and Elijah. My understanding on this, I spoke on this in the 2 witnesses. This is the embodiment of what the word within the presence of what represents the law and the prophets. And the living word, Messiah, embodies the law and the prophets. And the only way we can return to the path of righteousness is fasting. And that was shown through the law, the prophets, and once again through the living word of the 40-day and 40-night club. Everything is connected, and the purpose of this message is to remember the forgotten fast. Thank you, Yasharala, for joining me on this new moon festival and this study about returning to his path in multiple ways than just keeping the feast days and the Sabbaths. It's about humbling ourselves and also coming together as one, as a community. That being said, shalom and blessings, Yasharala, and thank you for joining me.